Thank you for checking out Lakehead International's videos. You're about to watch one of our Lakehead International live webinars, a fun and informative way to learn more about Lakehead while also meeting faculty, staff, and current students. If you have any questions throughout today's video, please comment below. Otherwise, let's get started. Hello everyone and welcome to another Lakehead International Live. My name is Jordan Ball. I'll be your host today. First and foremost, I want to take this opportunity and say thank you to our audience for joining us. Whether this is your first live event with Lakehead International or one of many you've joined before, I'm excited today to be sharing more information about admissions and applications, essentially how to apply and navigate that admissions process here at Lakehead University. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jordan Ball. I'm the International New and Social Media Officer. I'm the person that helps oversee and run all our digital recruitment strategies and initiatives. So our webinars, our website, our emails, all that sort of stuff. But I also run our social media channels and I help manage the Global Ambassador Program. So it's a pleasure to be here. I'm very excited to be with you. In terms of an agenda, first I'd like to kick things off with chatting a bit about steps to enrolling, and then we'll actually dive into reviewing the undergraduate application guidelines and actually going on the application portal. And then we'll shift gears and we'll chat about graduate application guidelines, and then once again, we'll review that online application portal. Alrighty, so for steps to enrolling, there's 4 simple steps to enrolling here at Lakehead. Number 1, you must meet or satisfy the admission requirements. Number 2, you should meet the English language proficiency requirements. Number 3, applying online. And number 4, you must submit your documents. So this is typically in a chronological order. However, you could certainly apply online, and then after 6 months, if that's when your degree is ending, you could then meet your admission requirements and then meet your English proficiency requirements. Of course, submitting your documents should happen essentially hand in hand with applying online. We want to make sure that our admissions teams can begin assessing your application as soon as possible. Diving a bit deeper into what those admission requirements include, of course, for our undergraduate students pursuing a bachelor's degree, we're looking for the successful graduation from an academic secondary school program or the equivalent to it. We're also looking for the equivalent of a Canadian 70% overall final average. And then depending on your program study, there may be program-specific prerequisites that are foundational courses that you've taken in previous studies, of course, that set you up for success in your Lakehead program. If you're joining us for a master's program at the graduate level, we're looking for the successful graduation with an accredited university degree that's equivalent to that of a Lakehead University 4-year degree. We're also looking for the Canadian equivalent of a minimum of 75% or a 3.0 on a 4-point scale. And once again, depending on your program of study, there may be program-specific prerequisites. In terms of English language proficiency requirements, there's a wide range of methods or ways to satisfy those requirements. So for our undergraduate students, we're looking at essentially 5 of them, and I'll dive a bit deeper into some of them here. But recent studies in an English language school system, that varies based on what level of study you completed, and we'll chat about that on the next slide. We'll accept the successful completion of one of the approved language tests with the required minimum scores. I also have those minimum scores listed on a slide coming up. And then we have 3 other options: successful completion of Lakehead University's academic English program, which is offered by our English Language Center; successful completion of one of our approved Pathway Partners ESL programs; or the successful completion of senior level English courses. For our graduate students, masters specifically, we're looking for 3 years of full-time recent studies in an English language system at the post-secondary level. So that means that your most recent bachelor's degree, which is of 3 years of length or at least, we need that to be at English. We also will accept, of course, the successful completion of one of our approved language tests with the required minimum scores. And once again, we'll accept you completing academic English here at Lakehead University. So diving a bit deeper, like I said, for those undergrad students that are looking to satisfy our English language proficiency requirements by the most recent years of study, if you're transferring from a college or a university, you actually can do that in 1 or 2 years. So for university level transfer students, we'll look for 1 year full-time undergraduate or graduate level studies at any university, as long as it is in English, the language of instruction is English. As well, the country has English as an official language. At the college level, Again, 2 years of full-time diploma level study at any college as long as the language of instruction and the official language of the country it's located in are both English. For high school students, this is a more popular option. If you are joining us right out of high school, as long as your most recent 3 years of full-time study at a high school were in English, English does not need to be the official language of that country. Of course, we recognize that there's international schools around the entire world that have high school level studies delivered in English, but of course the country they're located in are not, and that's fine with us. We know that you will be successful in terms of the English language demands here at a Canadian institution. For those students that are maybe thinking, I'm better off providing my proficiency or proving my proficiency through an ESL test, we accept IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo English test. The minimum scores are listed on your screen. So IELTS is a 6.5 with no individual score than 6. TOEFL, the internet-based test, is an 80 with no component score less than 19. And Duolingo English test is 110. Of course, there's select programs such as nursing, Juris Doctor, 2-year Bachelor of Education, as well as select programs on the grad side, so master's programs that do require higher minimum scores for general admission requirements. So take note of that if perhaps one of your programs is listed on there. Aside from that, I think it's time to chat about applying online. So on the screen here, you can see we do have our application deadlines listed. On the left-hand side for our undergrad students, January 2025 is closed now. So we're looking to September 2025. Some of our more popular programs include nursing, and that's why we do have a deadline that is sooner than most programs. So that's January 15th, 2025. Nursing, of course, is of high demand these days, so the sooner you apply, the sooner our admissions teams can begin assessing your applications and hopefully get you that offer. For the rest of our international applicants joining for most programs at the undergraduate level, your application deadline is going to be March 1, 2025. For our grad students, once again, winter or January 2025 is closed. However, if you're looking to join us for September 2025 intake, your application deadline is February 1, 2025. However, we are strongly encouraging all international applicants to complete an application by early December. So now that you're joined on today's session, and of course today is only November 21, we are hoping that our students are going to be submitting applications as soon as possible in the next few weeks, ideally, so that you can get that process started. And ideally, our admissions team in the graduate studies side can assess your offers and get you something in hand in the early new year. And finally, submitting your documents. This is always an important question for many students. For our undergrad students, it's fairly straightforward. It will require your official transcripts from the last institutions you've attended in your high school level studies. So if you've done a full 4 years at one institution, we'll just need that one transcript. However, if you've done 4 years of study at one institution, but perhaps you've taken additional courses at an online school, a night school, something along those lines, we'll need that other transcript as well. So just keeping in mind all official transcripts for your high school studies. Your English test scores may be required if that's how you choose to provide your English language proficiency. And then, of course, program-specific documents. That information is all published on our website, so it is program-specific. I couldn't elaborate necessarily further today, but you're more than welcome to check it out on our website. And for our graduate students, we're also looking for your official transcripts. If you've already completed your degree, we'll also ask for that proof of degree right now. If you're still working through the final months or year of your degree, you don't necessarily need to provide that right now. However, before you begin at Lakehead and before we issue that final official letter of acceptance, that's something that we will require just to confirm you've completed the degree, what your degree was in, and the date, of course. Your English test score also could be required, depends on how you intend on providing that proficiency or proving that proficiency. And then there will be required supporting documents, which could include your CV, your statement of intent. For computer science students, it could be your backlog form. So there's a wide range of required supporting documents at the graduate level, and there may even be a requirement to include references. All of that, though, is program specific. So keeping in mind that depending on what program you would like to pursue, we cannot necessarily guide you on that right here, right now. However, you can find that information for yourself online and determine what documents will be required. Alrighty. So, diving into the next page here, it's time to chat a bit about undergraduate application guidelines. And so, I want to remind our viewers now, when you're ready, you can simply visit lakeheadu.ca/apply now. So, it's that yellow link on your screen. Once you visit that website, and I'll show you what it looks like and how to access it in another format. But once you're over there, you actually can access our direct applications to Lakehead University, which is really exciting. For undergrads, once again, before you begin your application, you should follow the three simple steps listed on your screen here. You should have two program options selected. You should allow for at least 20 minutes to complete the full online application. I will note you're more than welcome to pause the application if you can't finish in one session. Come back and pick up where you left off and complete it. However, for most students, if they have their information accessible and ready to go, they can complete the application in 20 minutes or less even. And then, of course, having your payment method ready to ensure that once you've completed that application, you can actually pay the application fee and get it submitted directly to our international admissions team. So once you're on that website and you're actually on the undergraduate application form, you're going to land on a page that looks similar to this. So this is the Lakehead University direct application. It is powered by something called OUAC, Ontario University's Application Center. It will first ask you to log in. However, you can see at the bottom of this screenshot, there's also a section called Create Account. For anyone that has not completed a Lakehead University application for undergraduate studies before, you can actually begin by creating your account. When you do that, it's going to ask for some basic information to get you set up, including your first name, any middle names, and your family or last name. It will also require your date of birth and your email address. So there's a few things I want to touch on here. For your first, middle, and last name, these three fields should match your travel documents. So this is where we will get your information in terms of when we create a profile for you with our admissions team and then set up your student account here at Lakehead University. All of the communications that we share going forward after this point will be addressed to these names. And so it's important that when you actually go to apply for your study permit down the road, these names match your travel documents. Your date of birth, of course, that goes without saying. It should be matching your travel documents as well. Your email address, this is something that we'll use to communicate with you about updates related to your application, more questions we may have about your application, and important information as you pursue your studies at Lakehead. So please ensure you provide an email that you have access to and that you check on a regular basis. Beyond that, you'll then be asked to create a username and password. Creating the username that, of course, is personal to you, but that you can also remember. We recommend, of course, not using any identification numbers at that point or any reference numbers. I typically do a combination of my first name and last name. However, you're more than welcome to do whatever username that you would like to, as long as you can keep it in mind. And then when you're ready, you can also create a password. Of course, we'll always encourage you to create a strong password, a new password that you have not used again, and most importantly, write down those passwords. So keeping your username and password accessible, but also written down somewhere so that if you need to go back on and log into this portal, you won't have the headache of having to reset your password or ask for your username. You'll have it all in a safe place. When you're ready, you can read over the terms and conditions, and then you can click the button that says Create My OUAC Account. It will give you a quick summary page, which allows you to review. So you can see here's my information where I created my initial account. But we're actually going to take a peek at what that looks like now. So let's dive over to a different page here. We're going to dive into Lakehead University's home website. So this is lakeheadu.ca. If you'll remember correctly, I said that you can visit lakeheadu.ca/apply now. If that's not how you remember how to navigate a website, if URLs are just not your style, you can actually come over here to this button that says International, click on that, and then this purple button that says Apply Now is where you'll go. Right off the bat, you're actually able to access those direct applications online. So once again, we'll kick things off and we're going to open the undergraduate application. You can see here it's asking me to log in. As I noted, we've already created our account, so we'll go ahead and we'll log into this platform. And right away, you're going to be greeted with a welcome message. So that welcome message will give you some helpful tips, terms and conditions, all that sort of stuff. At the bottom of each page, there's always going to be an option to proceed to the next step. So in this case, it says proceed to introduction. If you're looking on the left-hand side of your column, though, there's also an introduction button here. So I want to remind viewers, however you feel it's best to navigate this application, you can choose that for yourself. If you would like to choose by clicking at the bottom of the page or clicking on the left-hand side, either way, it's going to get you to the next environment. It also, on the left-hand side, allows you to jump back and forth between sections. So this introduction sets the stage for information related to your studies at Lakehead and also gives you more details about the university itself and our campuses. And then once you're ready and you want to start to actually explore the programs we offer, you can proceed to browse programs. On the programs, there's going to be a few different sections. One is more pertainable to international students. So once again, we'll read through some of this important information and remind you why you chose Lakehead. Indigenous access programs are for Canadian Indigenous populations. So these are for the populations here that are local to Canada. Most of our international students will be looking for something called a degree program. So you can see there's a wide range of programs offered. The list goes on. There's also certificate programs and special student programs. If you've been invited to apply for one of these, you would know exactly which one to select. And of course, they would be guiding you in that process. But once again, for a vast majority of our students, you will be looking at our degree programs. So say you've already made up your mind, you've selected your two programs, and you're coming right into it and you say, I really would love to study bioinformatics. So you click bioinformatics and it's going to give you a program overview here. And then also it will give you a few links that are important to exploring the program first. So admission requirements, if we open that, you're going to see it actually loads our undergraduate admissions page. If you visit Lakehead website, it's just going to simply show you the main homepage. But then if you actually click additional program details, it will load our bioinformatics page. So you can learn more about what the program's all about. You can learn about admission requirements here. You can actually take a peek at what your first year is going to look like. So some of the courses that will be required a part of your schedule. You can learn about how you'll enrich your education within this program or other factors that will play a role into enhancing your studies. And you can also look at tuition and fees. But with that being said, once you've determined this is the right program for me, you're going to have some options to go through. So number one, the expected date of enrollment. It's going to list all of the optional intakes. For a vast majority of you and for any students that are joining for an undergraduate program, as I noted, winter is now closed, but you would select 2025 fall, September. And then the next section is going to be year level. So there's two options always. There's first year and advanced study. First year is for students that are coming to university studies for their very first time or joining the very beginning of a program. So if you're coming out of high school, if you're coming for your second bachelor, you'll select first year. If you're transferring from a college or university, you would click advanced standing. In this case, I'll go ahead and click first year. So we'll save that program. And then I am looking here. It looks like I have some questions there, but I'll leave those to Martin for now. And then we'll take an opportunity towards the end of today's webinar to answer more live questions. As I noted at the beginning, you can select two programs with this one application fee. So we have one added, bioinformatics, here at Lakehead University's Thunder Bay campus. You can go back to add programs to your application here. So if we think to ourselves, okay, bioinformatics, obviously we like some of the STEM related programming perhaps, maybe engineering is a good option for us. So if you click engineering here, it's once again going to give you a wide range of options. And then it's going to give you a few more details to go over. Once again, you can view admission requirements, you view our website, visit the program for more details. However, you'll then be asked to select your program of study intake. So let's select the date of enrollment. Once again, as fall. You'll, in this case, be asked to select your major of interest, and there's quite a list here. So if we actually go through here and we select, let's go with civil engineering, co-op, and MBA. Just for those students that are curious, maybe that's intrigued you, we do offer a Bachelor of Engineering as well as an MBA in less than 5 years, so that's really exciting. And this also is a co-op option. So once you're ready, you can go ahead and select the applicable year level. Once again, first year is for students joining at the very beginning of the program, typically transferring from a high school or coming out of high school, or perhaps pursuing a second bachelor's degree. And then advanced standing is for students that are transferring from another college or university that have already completed coursework there. When you're ready, you can click Save Program, and now you can see you have two program options. I'll pause here and I'll remind viewers, perhaps maybe you've added these programs, but you've had some time to think and you say, you know what, I think I prefer engineering in this case over bioinformatics. This choice number actually allows you to reorder your preference. And when you've done, you've selected the new numbers based on your choice. You click Save, and automatically you can see here, now engineering is my number one choice. Then we'll go to the next section, personal information. So you can see here it's pulling some of my information in from that very first sign up page. You can, of course, anticipate the same. However, you're also asked to then provide more information. So you can choose your title. You can add in a preferred name, and this, of course, should be different than your legal name. However, I will note, unfortunately, we're not able to use your preferred name in all instances when communicating with you. We do have to use your legal name, so just keep that in mind. And then for former last name or former family name, that's an important field for anyone who has changed their last name recently or been married and changed their last name. It's so that we can match your old documents or your previous documents with your new identification and your new profile. Gender, your choice of identity for First Nation or status, non-status, Inuit or Métis people. Once again, these are for Canadian indigenous populations. We do ask whether or not your parents or guardians have attended university or college, so you can simply select yes, no, or no declaration. A vast majority, once again, will be on study permit in terms of your status in Canada at the time of applying. So if you were that, you would select study permit. We'll switch things up. Last time I hosted, I was from Jamaica. This time, let's say I'm from Bangladesh. If you're not born in Canada, the date you anticipate on entering. So in this case, I had said that I was going to join in August 2025, and my first language was English. So when you're ready, you can click Save and Continue. It's going to give you an opportunity to review all of that personal information. And when you like, you can proceed to the contact information section. This is really important, of course, because this is how we stay connected with you. So first and foremost, your email. So that email you would have provided at that very beginning of creating your account is going to be listed here. Your status here, though, will most likely say unverified. That means that you actually need to go in and verify your email. It will prompt you with an email where you'll follow a link, and it's as simple as that. In my case, of course, I've already done this, so my email is good to go. Your address is also required, so when you're ready, you can go into your ad here, and then you can select your country. So like I said, I was going to do Bangladesh. Province or state, in this case, is only going to populate Canadian provinces or territories, as well as American or United States of America states. So you do not have to select anything as somebody who's from another country. This is optional, this field. Address line 1 is required. We do ask you to include all details required as if we were going to ship you something. So this is something critical for you. I will note there is a second field or option for your mailing address if it is actually different. So this should be your home address to begin, just so that we know where you're from. And then your second address, and I'll show you how that works, it could be your mailing address. Your postal code or your zip code. For Canada, we ask that you don't include any spaces, and for United States, we ask you to separate the zip extension with a hyphen. Your city is also required. And then here's something interesting. You'll notice at the bottom there's a checkbox. My mailing address is the same. So if you can receive mail at the same home address, you can tick that box and it will fill out both fields. If you cannot, you will not select this. I will cancel here, but you would save and continue, and you would come into the second option and you would fill out the mailing address as required. So it's the same fields, asking the country, the address line, postal code, and city. And then telephone. It is also required, so you could add that here. You can choose an alternate, a home, or a mobile, and your telephone number. You can see when you click on this little question box, it tells you how exactly to format your numbers. Ideally, you just use the numbers, you don't include spaces, hyphens, extensions, all of that. We'd prefer that you just do the full number as is. And then once you're done, you can confirm all of this information and proceed to applicant type. So in this case, the first question it's going to ask is, how are you applying? What is your type of applicant? So most of you will be an international student applying to a full-time undergraduate program. Then it will ask you if you've contracted the services of an accredited academic agent. So if you have not, you would simply select no and you can skip the next few questions. If you have, these fields now become required. So you'll be asked to provide the agent name, agent ID, which your agent should have from Lakehead University, your agent branch office, email address of the agent, and then of course you will need to agree to allow to release your information to that applicant agent, and so they can guide you in the process. So for today's sake, I'll hit no. So none of this is required. And it will ask you at this point if you've ever previously registered or applied at Lakehead University. So if you've previously applied, let us know what year. So perhaps you applied back in 2023. That'll help us match your new record with your old record. And if you had previously even started at Lakehead, even if you had dropped your courses, you should also let us know when that happened. When you're done, click Save and Continue. It's going to give you a review page. And then once you've confirmed the information is accurate and as you anticipate, you can move on to academic background. Academic background is the page where you actually will add all institutions you've been registered at in one or more secondary or post-secondary courses. So institutions will include regular day school, private school, night school, summer school, online school. It's not limited to just those options though. If you've completed a secondary course at another alternative schooling method, please include that here. I will note you do not need to include institutions where your home high school registered you for courses such as board virtual school, dual credit, specialist high school major, e-learning through consortium, that sort of stuff. We're just looking for the previously listed items. And then when you're ready, you can add an institution. Here you'll select your high school, your institution type. So let's say you're a high school. For today's sake, we're going to let people know our start date was 2020, and we began in September. And we're going to graduate perhaps, let's say 2025, and we'll graduate in June. So that's how the format should be, just to, again, help us better understand how long you've been in high school, how long you've been at this institution. Your location will be a country first. So let's go ahead and we'll remind people Bangladesh is what we selected. Institution name, depending on your program or your province that you select, it's actually going to populate a list of potential locations or institutions that we have worked with in the past. If your institution that you attended is not on the list, there's an option called Not in List, and then you'll be asked to provide the full institution name, address, all that sort of stuff. So let's take a peek at what that looks like. In this case, these are some schools in Bangladesh that we could select, so quite a lot of them. At the very bottom here, though, there's a Not in List option. So if that was your case, you would put their full name, do not use any acronyms, their country, the city, as well as their address line, just so we know exactly where you studied and where we can anticipate transcripts coming from. Your next section will be highest year level achieved. So you can go into here. There's a wide range of options based on different curriculums. You'll select the most applicable to you. Your field of study. This is applicable for some students, but not all. So you can always skip this if needed. Your diploma or degree type. Once again, these show all of the different curriculums. There is an option here at the bottom that says other. So if you click that, it will give you an opportunity to actually just add in any information. Your diploma or degree length, so how long it took you to complete that. And then the status. So if it's conferred, that means you've completed. If it's expected, that means that you will be graduating in the near future. If it's not expected, if you've decided perhaps and you've added, a course or a credit from a university or a college, you're not going to get a degree or diploma out of it. You're just doing that one course. It's not expected. And then for students that are in post-secondary or CGIP institutions, we'll need that date that you anticipate the degree will be graduated from. I'll click cancel there. Transcript request is only applicable to students who are already in Ontario and completing courses at a university or college. You also must arrange for all high school transcripts from anywhere outside of the province to be sent directly to Lakehead University. When you're ready, you can click review and submit. Of course, at this page, it's going to give you warnings. In this case, it's saying errors. You didn't complete your contact information. You didn't list anything on your academic background. You need to follow up and provide us with your phone number. So hopefully when you're complete, there won't be any errors and you can proceed on to the next stage, which is the consent form, where you need to acknowledge that all of the information you've provided on this application is true and accurate. And then when you're ready, you can proceed to the payment and completion of your application. So I hope that that gives everyone a better understanding of how to complete an undergraduate application. Next, we're actually going to chat a bit about the graduate application guidelines. So once again, for those viewers that are joining us now or joined us recently, if you visit lakeheadu.ca forward slash apply dash now, that's going to actually be the website that you can go to and access the direct application for undergraduate and graduate programs. Alrighty, so before you begin this application, there's going to be a few things that we want you to complete. Before you begin, you should have your program options selected. You should also have your supervisor name ready, if applicable, of course. That is typically only applicable for students completing research projects like thesis routes or even potentially project-based routes. You should allow also for 20 minutes to complete this online application. You can save and return to wherever you left off. However, it only takes 20 minutes to get started and submit those first documents and that application and get the ball rolling. And of course, importantly, you should have your payment method ready. So shifting gears here now, we're going to go back to the Lakehead University website, and we're gonna show you once again how to navigate the graduate application uh, experience. So back on the homepage, lakeheadu.ca, you're going to click on the international tab. If you forget how to get to that apply now, that purple button right there. Now we're here. We are able to create a graduate application. So if I actually open this in a new tab here, it's going to open this application form. So you'll provide us with your first name, your middle name, your last name. And at this stage, we'll ask you for your previous last name. Once again, all of these, the first three fields, first, middle, and last name, should match your travel documents. Previous last name will be for those who have recently changed their last name or changed it from a marriage, and documents that you're going to be sharing. So maybe your previous bachelor's, maybe your other studies are going to list a different name on that transcript. It's important that we can match that name to your profile. Your date of birth, your SIN, which is your social insurance number, only if you have one, and that's only applicable to Canadians. And when I say Canadians, I mean international students also studying in Canada. And then when you've completed that, you'll also be asked to provide your email address. This is where we'll send you your first login credentials to the next stage of the application. So once again, critically important that you provide us with an email that we have access to, that you check on a regular basis, because we communicate directly with your Lakehead email to share more information about your application and next steps. It will ask if you've ever previously attended, applied, or even been employed by Lakehead University, and you can say simply yes or no. If it's a yes, you'll be asked to provide your ID. If it's a no, simple as that, we'll move on. And then we'll ask, are you working with or are you an international recruitment agent? Once again, yes or no. If it's yes, you'll then have to fill out a bit more information. In this case, I've already done this for today's sake, so I'll click up here at the top right, a sign in button actually. And this is where now we're logging into Lakehead's single sign-on. So let's get started here. We'll log into my profile. You will not see this next screen. You will only see the screen after. But for today's sake, I will click applicant. This is what you will see when you first join. So you know won't have any active applications. You'll then need to view your programs. This is really great because you can see the programs in different tiles. You can see them in a list format. You can search them. So if you wanted to do something with computers, I saw someone in the chat ask questions about electrical computer engineering, so let's go ahead and select that as our option. When you're ready to learn more about the program of study, you click more. The first page will be more information about the program and what you can anticipate to learn in it. And then, of course, it will also include our international admission requirements for our students. And when you're ready and you feel like this is the right program for you, you can click the apply button here. You can see that in this case, there is a total of 4 required tasks to complete this application. So your pre-application questions, some of these you will not see. Just to be clear that because I have administrative access, I can see a few extra things here. But your student status will start with international. You'll select your program of study, your intake. So let's go ahead and do September as well. And of course, September 2025. Your options, so this is going to be the route. In this case, thesis and course space are options. Let's go ahead and select course space. Study load will always be full-time and your campus will be Thunder Bay. Now, when you've completed each task, at the bottom there's going to be 2 buttons, either save and continue editing or mark as complete. I would encourage all graduate applicants who are going to guide themselves on this application, always come down and click save and continue editing. That will allow you to be able to come back and make changes in the future. So let's go through the application form. It's going to ask you for your current email address, your prefix, your first, middle, and last name. Once again, you should write this as shown on your passport or your travel documents. Your former last name, if you have a preferred name, you can also list your chosen first and last name, and then your birth date. We'll also ask for your gender, your Canadian social insurance number, only if you have one, and then contact information. So this is where it gets a little more unique, and I want to dive into this a bit further. So let's say you're shipping to a home address. The first home address that you'll provide is actually uh, you can put the house number, you can put the street, and then city, province, state. These are all open text fields. However, if you live outside of Canada or in the United States, you'll actually fill out the second option as well. So you'll go house number, street, address line 2 if applicable, city, province, you will select foreign. So foreign is going to be all the way at the bottom on the list. And for county, this is only applicable to Ontario. So you can actually select not Ontario. Your postal or zip code, please don't include any spaces for Canadian postal codes or global postal codes. And for zip codes, you can include the hyphen between the extension. And then for country, we'll also say we're from Bangladesh in this case. And then you can provide all the applicable information. Phone number, business, seller, home. So let's go ahead and select home and then you'd put it in here. I would also encourage at this point, don't include hyphens, don't include additional characters. Just having the numbers in there, it will be enough for us. Now we'll save and continue editing. Of course, it gives me right off the bat several error messages because some of these are required and I did not complete them, so I can come back and edit this. Now, the reason I told you to use save and continue editing, because perhaps you come back to your pre-application question, you say, on second thought, I think I would prefer to do a thesis-based approach for my master's of electrical and computer engineering. You can come in and change that. You can see at that point, that's where we actually see the potential supervisor information. So your supervisor name and your applicant, your area of research or interest. Once you provide that and you are 100% confident we're good to go, you can mark as complete. It will tell you that it will be locked once it's marked as complete, so it will give you that final warning. But when you're ready, you can complete the task. I always encourage students, don't mark it as incomplete until you're ready to make that final submission and payment. You're ready to move forward with an application. But you can see now here, cannot be modified. So this is locked in. There's nothing else I can do or change about this. If I was needing to go back and edit any of this, I would actually have to delete this application and create a whole nother application. So that's why we always encourage students to mark and continue editing. And then, of course, when they're ready to pay and submit, that's when they can mark as complete. You will see a few options here. So a mandatory option in this case is uploading your unofficial transcripts from your post-secondary institutions. If you already have your proof of degree, great. You can include that. And reference letters in this case are optional. Of course, in this case, it is highly recommended that international students that are applying for thesis do use at least one reference letter. Alrighty. So that is a quick overview of the graduate application form. I think it's everyone's favorite time now as we come towards the end of our webinar to dive into questions. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to use the question and answer feature, the Q&A button built into webinar, and I will begin to answer those. And we'll take the next 10 to 15 minutes to go through them. So this question says, I applied to nursing undergraduate 3-year program and have submitted all required documents, but have not received my offer. Please, what can I do? So just so everyone knows, processing times do vary based on program and level of study. So I will remind each of our audience members, please have patience with our admissions team as they go through your application. In this case, if you've already submitted all of your required documents, it may be a matter of our team not yet having those documents on hand, but they are coming shortly. So if you've mailed them, perhaps they're still coming through the mail. If they were sent electronically, I would encourage you to give them up to 10 business days or perhaps maybe a little longer to review those documents and process them. This next question, is there a way to appeal the rejection of my application and request a reconsideration? So if you've been rejected, if your application was refused, you can actually see the notes as to why it was refused. Depending on that answer, I would encourage you to consider whether or not it's worth requesting a reassessment or reapplying. If it's based on perhaps your academic performance, if your marks aren't high enough, perhaps you want to do some upgrading at a home institution before joining us at Lakehead. If it's another reason, I would encourage you to connect directly with the program coordinator or the program chair to see if there's any more information that you can provide to guide them in their decision, but also perhaps to get more information on what you can do better next time. And then this question says, please, I'm prepared to apply for Masters of Science Environmental Engineering with a GPA of 3.7 out of 5 or 3.08 out of 4. Do I stand the opportunity to be admitted if I apply now? Absolutely, yeah. So it sounds like based on what you've shared your GPA as, you would be admissible to Lakehead University's graduate programs. I will note, of course, I want you to of course, note, I'm not an admissions officer. I haven't seen your documents and I can't make an official assessment online like this. So if you do choose to apply, as soon as you actually share those documents with us, we will process that application as quickly as we can and make sure that it's in front of the Faculty of Engineering so that they can review your documents and ensure that you're a good fit for Lakehead University. This question says, kindly, how many semesters are in a term? So one academic year has 3 semesters. But I will note for undergraduate students, typically you complete 2 academic terms or 2 semesters a year. So you go through the fall, so it's September to December, and then the winter, which is January to April. For graduate students, you're typically in consecutive enrollment where you complete 3 academic terms in 1 academic year. So that would also include the fall and winter, but then it would also include the spring, summer. So that's going to be May through August. So keep in mind, there's 3 academic terms or semesters a year. Depending on your level of study, though, it will vary on how many you actually complete. This question, have you started giving offers to nursing students? That's a great question. Quite frankly, I'm not sure what our admissions team has done in terms of the numbers that they've processed or whether or not offers have been going out specifically for nursing. I do know offers are flowing for fall 2025, so we've been releasing hundreds of offers now to new students for joining us next September. I don't know off the top of my head whether or not nursing is one of those programs. So what I would encourage you as the viewer to do, as the applicant to nursing, connect directly with our international admissions team and ask them the same question. They will be transparent, they will be honest, and they can actually give you an update with regards to your application. Perhaps they're in the process of reviewing that and they can tell you, you know, we should have an answer in a few days. This says, I've paid my seat confirmation fee and also sent transcripts to the university. What is next after that? Should I pay my first semester fee? If you've already paid your confirmation deposit, if you've already sent your official transcripts to Lakehead, your next step is 100% to complete your study permit application with the Canadian government. Students that apply before January 22nd, I believe, 2025, or at least the end of January. I'm not exactly sure on that date, so don't quote me necessarily. For students that are joining us, though, after that date, but apply before, you most likely will not be required to receive a PAL or provincial attestation letter. This question says, I have an offer from another school with a deposit deadline approaching, but I strongly prefer attending Lakehead. Awesome. We love to hear that. Would sharing the other offer help expedite my application review process? Unfortunately, it would not. What I would encourage you to do though is connect directly with your program coordinator, your program chair, or our faculty of graduate studies, and let them know that you have an offer and that you are hoping for an expedited review, and that Lakehead University is your preferred institution. You don't need to share that offer necessarily. However, just connecting them and letting them know that you are looking for a quicker response so that you can make your firm decision. That's certainly something that they would be open to. I can't guarantee that they will make that assessment right away, but hopefully that you can chat with them a bit. I see some questions coming in the chat, so I'll take this opportunity to remind viewers, all questions must be submitted using the Q&A feature, so that we can keep them all organized and we don't lose track of them. As you know, the chat can move fast sometimes, and so please submit all questions over in the Q&A. This question says, with my application under department review, can I ask my university to email my official my official transcript to Lakehead? Um, Adama, that's a great question. I would encourage you to perhaps hold off. Typically, we invite students to send their final official transcripts after they have an offer to Lakehead. So if you receive that offer, perhaps in the next week or so, or a couple of weeks, at that point, then you can make the request of your university to send official transcripts. On that same note, though, I would say that if you are aware of significant delays in terms of sharing those documents, so if your university is going to take a month to process that request and send out those documents, perhaps it would be beneficial for you to make that request now. Now that your application is under department review, you can feel confident that that is in front of the admissions committees within your academic unit, and hopefully they'll have a decision for you sooner than later. This question says, if I apply before Jan 20th for study permit, but I didn't get it by that time by IRCC, then do I need to apply for PAL? From what we understand through the IRCC regulations, provided that you've submitted your application before that date, you will not require a PAL after that date. The way that we understand the announcements and changes related to PAL letters or provincial attestation letters is that students that are submitting their study permit application before January 2020 will not require a PAL as a part of their application. So I think more questions are coming through in the chat. So I just want to remind students, if you have questions, please submit them in the Q&A so that I can see them and I can answer them. Before I let everyone go, I do want to take this opportunity to encourage you to follow us and stay connected on social media. You can find us at Lakehead International on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also explore our beautiful campuses by taking a virtual campus tour at lakeheadu.ca/tours. And you can also explore all of our upcoming events by visiting our website and scanning that QR code to learn more. To our viewers in the webinar chat, if you can submit your questions over in the Q&A, I'll be able to answer them over there. Thank you. This question says, as a high school graduate who wrote CAPE, how do I assess my Canadian grade, or does Lakehead translate my grades automatically? Lakehead will do that for you. So we have a dedicated international admissions team accessible to all of our applicants that will assess all of your documents. So in your case, if you've already completed CAPE, that's great. You can send those transcripts and applicable marks to our offers, to our offices, pardon me, and we'll assess that as soon as we can. I also want to remind viewers, when sending documents to Lakehead, there's two options typically. First and foremost, you can send it electronically. You can send it from your institution, so that means that your principal, your guidance counselor, your registrar needs to send it from an institutional email directly to Lakehead's admissions team, or you can use the good old-fashioned way of sending it by hard copy. However, if you are sending any transcripts by hard copy, the only way we will accept them as final official is if they are in a sealed envelope by the institution. So it cannot be an envelope that you've ripped open and that you've put into your own. It cannot be tampered with, of course, and the envelope itself needs to be sealed by the institution. If it's not sealed by the institution, then we will not accept that as final official. So I hope that helps students prepare for what's next in terms of the admissions process. Looking to the Q&A, it looks like we've answered all of the questions over there. Um, Alrighty, folks. Oh, one other one just came through. This says, kindly repeat the meaning of advanced standing. Of course, no problem. So advanced standing is applicable only to undergraduate applicants, and that means that when you're applying to Lakehead University's undergraduate programs or a bachelor's degree and you're filling out that online form, advanced standing is for those students who have completed post-secondary courses. So they're transferring from a college or a university, or they have post-secondary credits that they would like us to consider for advanced standing, which is transfer credits. So I hope that helps. A vast majority of our students that are joining us out of high school, though, are simply applying into their first year of studies. Alrighty. So thank you again to everyone for joining us today. It looks like that may be all of our questions. Oh, another one came in. What does it mean when your admission status is pending, PN? So that's just pending. That means that it has not yet been reviewed by our admissions team, but they have acknowledged the receipt of the application, and it is going to be in front of an admissions officer very soon, and they'll be able to give you more details after that. This question says, hi, I have a question about the study permit application. I've been recently accepted into a master's program in civil engineering based on completing AEP, which is our academic English program. I'm wondering, when applying for a study permit, should I apply this study permit based on the AEP program or directly apply based on the master's program? I found on the IRCC website that it said I may require a PAL. I'm not sure about that since no one talks about it. That's a great question. If at all possible, I would encourage you to use your graduate letter of acceptance, which will clearly state that you must complete academic English as a part of your pathway to Lakehead. And at the same time, include your academic English program letter in that same. So combine the documents, make it one offer letter in terms of the file being one document, and apply for your study permit before the end of January. And you should not require a PAL. That is, of course, what we've been recommending, and we've seen success in the past. However, if anything comes up, please don't hesitate to reach out and connect with us, and we'll be happy to share more information. This question says, I'm a high school student, second year, and I'm not sure what I want to study yet, but I was wondering if I could get some help and advice. Absolutely. So we do offer opportunities for students to connect actually directly with our recruitment advisors who are based around the entire world and are happy to support you in your exploration of what you want to study. So I'll share this link directly with our viewers today, just so that you can get a better idea of as to perhaps what you would like to study. I'm going to put it in the chat so everyone can see. So it's lakeheadu.ca/international/future/connect. That's where you can connect directly with our recruitment advisors. I'll also encourage students as they continue to explore their programs. I would encourage you to actually use our program navigator. I'll put that in the webinar chat as well. The program navigator is something really great for you to explore different areas of study at Lakehead based on your passions. Alrighty, so we have 6 questions in the Q&A, but we only have 2 minutes left, 3 minutes left, so I'll do my best to answer as many as I can here. This says, can I still apply for a master's program in education or electrical and computer science for January intake? Unfortunately, you cannot. Applications for January 2025 have closed now. Okay, please, if I have a loan offer towards my tuition, will I still have to pay the deposit for master's? Yes, you will. So you will be required to pay that confirmation deposit, whether or not you're being funded through a personal loan, through a student loan, or through graduate funding. You will be required to pay that deposit. If you have any questions about that, you can always connect directly with your graduate studies team. This final question for today says, what should happen if I fail to find a supervisor willing to take me on for my thesis? I would encourage you to still submit an application and of course state your case, be clear about your intentions related to research and what you would like to pursue at Lakehead in your statement of intent as well as your research area where you note it. And with that being said, our admissions committees within each department will then take your application, they'll accept it at that point, and if you're admissible, they will look to find a supervisor that's well suited for you. Alrighty, folks. So on that note, thank you again for joining today. It's been my pleasure to be your host, and I want to thank you again. With that being said, though, we'll wrap it up here, and we will see you hopefully at the next live webinar.
I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, I want to encourage you to comment below or connect with us on social media. We can be found at Lakehead International on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thanks for watching once again, and hopefully we'll see you at the next live webinar. Bye for now.